All right, time travelers. I'm going to show you why mining cryptocurrency sucks and it's a total pain in the butt parts. I just got this 1080 Ti in the mail, and I'm going to use it to upgrade from that 1080 because the last 1080 Ti I had in there messed up my system. Maybe. The jury's still out, still being investigated, and he's a suspect. And I returned him on the eBays because that card was warped and messed up looking. They look the same, don't they? Well, they're not the same. They're very different. So that brings up a very valid point about why mining sucks. And just the GTX 1080 versus the 1080 Ti. Check this out. This is like a remote snapshot of my main mining machine. And you can see here I got 1, 2, 3, 4 1080s running. And if you look at 2 and 3, for example, they're running at 135 watts and 134 watts, okay? So that's 35.7 and 33. One's getting less than the other, a whole lot, and that's annoying. Why? Who knows? But let's go ahead and plug these numbers in. 35.7 and 135. 35.7, 135. That's 0.26 hash per watt, okay? That's like how much electricity it costs to make 1 hash rate. And I got the 1080 Ti to run 47 at 207 watts. That's 0.22. But that's on the MSI one. On the other one that I had that had a warped heatsink, it was getting like 230 watts normal. Like that. So like 0.20, it's super expensive to run that. You know, I would never pay off that card. And what's more annoying than that, I got 4 different flavors of the 1080, and this is why people end up trying to buy all of the same model card to put in their mining rig. Look at the second one here, 67 degrees Celsius versus 54 degrees Celsius. And that's because it's cold in my house right now. It's 72 because it's like 40 degrees outside. But when the summer comes, I'm gonna have to sell that card. That's a blower style card. It's the Founders Edition, but all right, well, back to the main video. I'll just tell you something about mining. This is me trying to mine with the 1080, and I should be getting a 35, but I can't because I can't overclock this card. This system will totally crash. I guess I can show you right now, since I have to turn it off anyway. All right, focus! Profile. Focus, I want to show the people the numbers are higher. This is the overclock settings for a 1080, and then I hit apply. Give up, I'm done. It crashes. But that is something that I'm working on. Get subscribed so you can see the other videos where I'm struggling with my computer trying to figure that out. Where's my screwdriver? Is my underwear showing? I'm too skinny to keep my pants up. And I still want to lose more weight. I'm upgrading from this 1080 to this 1080 Ti because 1080 Ti is better at editing videos apparently. It's warm because it's been mining all day. Click the card above so I could show you where I tested the 1660 Super versus the 1080 Ti when I was scrubbing. 1080, not quite as good. That's 1080. Whatever. The 1080 Ti is thicker though. Check it out. It's like a thick boy versus a regular boy. It's like me before keto, after keto. Sitting on my wrinkly butt pillow, which is used to protect my butt parts when I'm sitting in this chair all freaking day teleworking and then later on have to do YouTube editings. Might be upgrading to a gamer chair later if I still have the monies after fixing this computer. Close it right in there. Nice. Plug it in. Mining started. 32, okay. Now let's start the ETH enlargement pill thingy, what's it? Enlargement pills are currently being served. Please keep this window open and we'll continue closing your cards as needed. Okay, 44.858. Well, guess what? This can do 47 if I get the overclocks working. 95, enter. 75, and 600. Save that profile as number 1. And then hit apply. And then watch the madness. Is it gonna glitch out? Is it gonna trip out? It's not tripping out. It could trip out every second now and make blocks appear all over the screen, or it'll just go and die. And it's still working. I'm so afraid. It could happen at any moment. I did put a temporary motherboard in here because I had to send my motherboard back to MSI, and then when I got the temporary motherboard in and booted up, I found out it's running the same, still crashing on the 1080. Card up here if you want to see me and Charlie tear it apart and rebuild it with the temporary motherboard. Now, I got a different 1080 in the mail yesterday, and I had to put that in this thing, and that took me hours. Let me show you this frustrating thing. So this card has 2 power connector things I have to use. Not 1, but 2. Whatever. So you think whatever, that's fine. No, it's not whatever. So here's one power cable coming off the power supply, and it's got its own built-in splitter. So if you got one cord going to this video card and the other cord going to this video card. Now, if your power supply doesn't have built-in splitters, you have to buy those separately. Not cool, bro. Also, if your video card has 2 power connectors, you need to have your splitter or the single cable going into both of them, because that video card can actually pull more watts. It has a higher ceiling, quotation mark fingers. So here's another example. These are sharing the same cord, basically. And where's one that's not? It's so hard to see, it's like buried in there. Can you see it? Can you see it? This one's using 2. So that ties up that whole cord. So I can't have 2 cards coming off the power supply, even though I set the overclocks lower. And that card is pulling less watts than this card right now. Even though it's pulling less watts, it can peak and jump for like a millisecond at a time. And that 1 millisecond could be enough to blow your whole system. So right now, I want to put this 1080 in there. And I know it's got the 2. So where do I put this one? I was thinking of putting it right here. I have this cord right here that's got 2. Take this whole card out. But what if I wanted to keep that card? I want to see if this mining machine can actually do 12 whole cards. It hurts my brain. Can the mining machine run 12 cards? Get subscribed so you can find out in the part 2 video. And I also have this RX 5700 XT that came in the mail today. I ordered them each 2 days apart, hoping they would come 2 days apart. 2 cards came yesterday and 1 card came today, and it's like, okay, I'll just do them later in the week. No, that is leaving money on the table. Literally, on the table. It could be in there making money. See? 2 power thingies. Unplug it out, unplug it out. Oh, my screwdriver! I vote we do the RX 5700 XT because it can make a higher hash rate. You could get like 55 or 58. That can only get 45 to 48. That's the same watts, I think. Well, similar watts. I don't know the numbers. I'll throw some numbers on the screen. They may or may not be right, but give you a better idea what I'm talking about. Plug it in, plug it in. And now this part that I hate to do, if I have to do it, and I try to avoid it at all costs. I have to modify the BIOS on this card. And when you do that, you want that to be the only card plugged into the system. Because you have to add 1 card or maybe 2 cards if you're pushing it at a time. Boot it up, let the drivers install, mine for like 5 minutes to make sure it's stable, shut it down, and add more. It takes forever! I mean, what? Unplug, 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 unplug. Turn on both the power supplies. Is it coming on all on its own? There we go. No, don't mind right now. Don't mind. Open up Device Manager. It's installing the drivers right now. It says AMD Radeon RX 57 XT. And it's flashing and coming and going because it's still doing its thing, which may take a few minutes. So I'll be watching this video from Red Panda Mining about how to mod the BIOS on a 5700 XT. I'm not gonna make you watch all of that. Link in the description if that's what you came here for, you know, because I'm helping you guys out, maybe. Now, I don't recommend actually modding the BIOS of a graphics card. There's so many risks. The worst thing that could happen is you could brick it, which means you can't use it ever again for anything. Actually, more on that in the part 2 video that I'm gonna be uploading later. Let's see, it detects it in the mining software, 5700 XT, currently 10 watts because it's not mining yet. All right, check it out, I'm only getting 53. Now I have to freaking Google good overclock settings for this card. Good ethereum overclock settings RX 5700 XT. And overclocking the card, that's a whole other waste of your life if you're not gonna have the thing turned on for a long time. Because it's not like overclocking for gaming. No, it's memory centric and try to keep the electrical use down. So you Google it to save a little bit of time, but then you find stuff like this, like Googling for the 1080 Ti, and this one guy says he increases memory 400 or 500, and this other guy's talking about only getting 40 to 42 mega hashes and getting the blue screen of death in Windows after 3 to 5 minutes of mining. Just like that. This other guy says he's got 90% power limit, 0 on the GPU clock, I think, and 300% on the memory. That's not very much. And then this other guy down here, power limit 65, that's real low. CPU up 100, and the memory 800, you know? So you kind of like had to pick a safe number somewhere in between there, and then you bring up your MSI Afterburner, right? So safe numbers in between, and you put, I don't know, 400, and you do this one first, and you watch it mine, and you add 50 at a time, waiting 5 minutes in between each one until, in my case, I landed on 600 because 650, the miner would crash, and 700, my computer would lock up, and blue screen, reboot it, put 600 in there again, start subtracting or adding, depends on the model card, it's just so weird, from the actual GPU clock. And then once you find a stable there, you reduce the power limit until the hash rate starts to go down, then you bring it back up a tiny bit and you leave it. It takes frickin' forever. Blah, 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 blah. There we go. Core clock 1400, so they're slowing down the GPU clock. 1800 or 900, so it's 1800 in this case. 900 is when you use a system that doubles whatever you put. 1800. So default is 1750, so they're only taking the memory up 50 megahertz. I'm gonna hit apply and watch and see if this goes up. This is my life, and this is time I'm spending. Growing old with you and retiring with my ethereums that I earned with this thing. See, 55. So that went 54.6 up to 55. And it's running 197 watts. That's pretty high, actually. I'm like, let's try to get better. What happens if we put 1900? Apply. Will it crash? Well, then I have to like flip the power supplies off and then back on again to make it come back on and see if I can fix it, or will it just reboot like normal, or will it crash Windows and be like, you'll have to run a repair on the Windows now. Oh, it's running 58. 58.0. That's good numbers. Still 208 watts. Now. You can get lower watts on an AMD card if you don't overclock it with MSI Afterburner thingy wits it, but instead you overclock it with the miner itself. This doesn't work the same with NVIDIA cards. I don't know why. So these are all different versions of the command line thing that I've used. Go down to this one that I'm running right now, which is this one. And I want T-stop 85. That means stop mining if that card gets 85 degrees Celsius before you cook it. Dash RX boost 4 dash core clock. I don't remember the RX boost. It's like you boost it for different amounts. And 4 was the stable one that I had for the RX 580s, not the 5700, but whatever. Core clock. So let's see what core clock I used. I used 1400. So I did 1400 dash mem clock, and I used 1900 M clock 1900 dash CVDDC. And so that's the voltage for the GPU. And then you got the voltage for the memory. I want to put the same number, and that's it. So I'm gonna close the miner. See, 211 watts. So I'm getting 58.3 at 211. Close the miner, run it again. Purple. It's doing the RGBs, and it's on purple. No, I forgot something, and I went into Afterburner and it locked up. You have to reset Afterburner to default settings to basically leave those cards alone. Any AMD cards that you're overclocking with the miner, leave them alone. Otherwise, stuff will lock up. Look at that. MSI Afterburner is not responding. Thanks, Microsoft. I said close the program. I don't care about troubleshooting or whatever you think you're doing. It's not helping me. Get it off. Also close the miner. Close it, close it, close it, close it, close it, close it, close it. Ah. Restart the system. Everything wants to be locked up all the time. Well, that restarts. Look at this other thing that's totally annoying. This mess of wires is something you have to figure out on your own if you want to do mining. All these USB cords are the crazy way that the mining cards are plugged into the motherboard. And this motherboard actually trips out and won't run all the cards. So I got this crazy 4-way PCI thing right here. See these 2 USB things? And a third one right there? Are plugged in one card that's plugged into one slot. And the thing is supposed to support 4, but it can only do 3. The motherboard won't detect all 4. It's so weird. Are you done restarting yet? I do have a life outside of mining. And then if you want to run a bunch of different cards, you have to run more than one power supply. And these power supplies are not cheap. These two are like $500 a piece. You see that one, and you see that one over there, and they got all these cords coming out of them plugged into all the things. Why are you still not on? Anyways, then you have to have this special cord. You plug the 2 power supplies into each other. Well, actually, you plug your main power supply, your first one, into that, and you plug this into the motherboard, right? And it's got these 2 wires that come off of it that plug into your second power supply. So then, whenever you press the power button for the computer, it turns both the power supplies on at the same time. Freaking turn on already! Off both power supplies. Pew. Then on both power supplies. All right, reset the overclocks. Save to profile 1. Now run the miner. All right, it went 50, 56, 57 at 145 watts. So that's about 50 watts less than before. And that's from controlling the voltage using the mining software itself. And now I'm getting to 58. Good, I'm happy. I'm done with those settings, right? Don't mess with it anymore, you might break it. Shut it down, shut it down. Now I gotta turn both the power supplies off, otherwise it'll randomly turn on when you plug in one of your other cards and scare the flipping bejesus out of you. Like, oh, I'm gonna break it. Man, all these things, and I've been spending hours of my time. Hopefully it'll pay off, because I know the Ethereum that I mined in 2018 paid off. I bought some more graphics cards. I saved up some money, got my tax return, combined it, got my son a laptop, leaving most of it in there. Hopefully I can retire and have some of that as some of my income when I retire. Hopefully I also have stocks and other things. You know, diversify. Put that along with my retirement. You guys should come back and check out part 2, because more hilarious shenanigans have happened. I've got more footage that I've got to edit and more reasons why cryptocurrency mining sucks. The government got to freaking. So thanks for watching. I've been Robert Gene. Here's some other videos for you to watch, and you can @ me over here. Let's just go crazy, talk silly stuff all over, you know, Twitter or Instagram or whatever you got, and subscribe to the channel. Talk to you later. Bye.